Hey guys, welcome back. A member of my Discord requested that I do a tactical review of their gameplay in virtual reality. They requested that I be as honest as possible and point out any issues that I see. If I come off as disparaging in this video, please know that these critiques come from a desire to help others in their ability to apply real-world tactics to their gameplay and to teach others how to actually become competent in CQB, not just pretend that I'm the most authentic for the clout that title can give me. So without further delay, let's get into the breakdown. Okay, I'm not exactly sure why all three of you are waving at this point. He doesn't have to like come up and give you like a barrel release or wave when you're here on this corner. He can come up to you and squeeze you, and then you can just, you know, pie across to like over here while he's continuing to watch this angle. As you move to get to this corner, he'll like follow behind you and continue to watch in this direction, right? And then maybe you'll get a third person to come up on this corner and then look into that direction so that you have this whole thing going on, and then everybody else can pass, and the last man will just say last man, and then, you know, he'll peel off, and then you can peel off if you are trying to get over in this direction. With him coming up to you over here and then looking in here, and then, you know, you guys doing your wave up and down to like signify this could all be communicated with like, okay, squeeze, and then you just go to the other side. You don't have to coordinate that so much. Doing like the up and down angle exchanges is more for coordination than it is for signifying that you're like about to do something. You just need to move over and he just needs to follow you. Yeah, and then you have a third person that's like waving as well. Okay, yeah, that was a little bit funky. Although I guess I said that it was a little bit funky that like he went across to like hold up over here, but I don't hate it because, you know, you still have eyes on this area and you have the most situational awareness about what's over there. It makes sense. It makes sense for you to stay there, but it's a lot easier if the dude just comes up and squeezes you and you come over here. It requires like less of like this three people doing their barrel waves at the same time. It feels like a lot of like lost in the sauce rather than substance. But him going over there, I don't hate it. Oh, one thing I do hate though, looking at it again, is that if you are going to be going over there, this person is going to be like looking in this angle, but this person is going to be exposed to this angle. So let me change the color so that it's like more evident. We'll turn this on pink. This person here needs to be behind this person here. Okay, we'll label them 1 and 2. So 2 needs to be ahead and 1 needs to be lagging behind 2. In order to make sure that the person that is looking at this opening is ready to address whatever angle is beyond that opening. So number 1 needs to be behind number 2. Okay, offset support. This is something that we can talk about quickly. So you're going to want one person standing here and one person standing here, obviously doing this for the angle exchange. And then once they do their angle exchange, they're going to loop in and this guy's going to loop in. Obvious. You know, you already know this. I know that you already know this. I've seen your gameplay before. But what you want to be doing, right, is wherever you're standing, you know, I'm not mad at if you stand here or if you stand here or if you stand here, but you're going to be watching this, right? What you need to do is you need to wait. So you need to wait for gunshots this way and gunshots this way, because if you move in with them, and the gunshots start coming in, it's going to be harder for you to hold down this area, this area right here that you're watching. Okay, so this breach I really don't like. Your position is not completely terrible, but the other two people are in desperate positions, to say the least. So we've got one guy here and we've got one guy here. Now, yeah, your position isn't too terrible because if worse comes to worse, you can run into like this area. Albeit that area is not cleared yet, but at least you have an option. When we look at this person and this person, they're in some pretty bad spots. First off, this guy doesn't really have a spot to bail out to if this area gets really bad. Right? His best option would be to run over here, exposing himself to the whole threshold. You could argue that, like, yeah, maybe he could run into that corner. If I was inside, I could just throw a grenade right here. And then it's like, okay, well, what does he do? If he decides to run, to maybe throw back the grenade, then I can shoot him. If he decides to run over here, then I can shoot him. If he doesn't do anything, the grenade is going to kill him. So he's in a really bad spot standing right there. The other guy is in an even worse situation because in order for him to get to safety on either side, he has to extract the angle this way, or he has to extract the angle all the way over here. The best way, in my opinion, to tackle something like this is to use this wall here as your working wall. You already have somebody all the way back there that can like address this angle. So we could stack up on this wall over here and then potentially start to pie out in this direction. All right, have one guy posted watching this angle and then start to work our way towards getting an eye on that angle. Or the dude that's all the way back here could start to walk down this wall. Although I don't think that him walking down that wall is the best idea. I think that like doing this whole thing is probably better. Before breaching, you would want to be moving the whole team in this direction and clearing down that whole area and making sure that that area is clear and good to go. And then coming back over here and stacking on this area. Okay, I'm guessing that what you were signaling for was something along the lines of you're standing here and you want to go over here and hold this and then watch it like that and have him move like this to watch that way. I'm guessing that's what you wanted to do. However, in this situation, if you know that the dude is with you, you can simply move from here to past the door. Now, in this situation, I wouldn't move straight line. I would move wider in order to get a good angle on what's over here. And then while I'm doing that, once I pass it, once I'm like probably like here or something, then he can come in and grab this like that. I will work this angle from as deep as I can, probably working around this flower pot and doing this whole thing until I see like just past the 90 on this angle, and then I'll move to the angle and take up a spot to look down that hallway instead of being here and the other guy being here, and then we flip it and then we do like some wingman thing across. I know people do it that way and it's not terrible, but I think it's more effective, or more efficient, I should say, to just push past the door in some way. Even if you were just to go forward and just stand right here and watch this, it's more efficient to just bump past it and have him presume that it's his job, or like make it into your TTPs that like if somebody pushes past the door and you're with him, then you need to worry about that door and get on the side that is going to attack the crack in order to deal with it, whatever side that is. Okay. Yeah, I remember this part. So, Angleman Corner Boy, and the places where it kind of breaks down. This is a perfect example of a spot where it breaks down. When it comes to Angleman Corner Boy, if you have another threat, then you are no longer in Angleman Corner Boy. You are in a cross coverage. So, right at this point, we have this like window here. We need you to be watching this, and then he can be watching that, and then we need to angle exchange off of this situation. Or we could treat it as an offset dead space if you're not too worried about that closed door. Then you would continue to hold this, and then he can continue up to like maybe right here and clear this as best as he can. If he can see into the room to that 90 degrees, or a little bit past that 90 degrees to ensure seam to seam, then he can check up, and then you can start moving in this direction, right? Like you'll come a little bit up and then go past the wall, and then set up somewhere in here to get eyes through the window. If he can't get that angle to where he can see seam to seam, then you need to angle exchange at this point. And once you angle exchange, obviously you're going to go in and you're going to hold this angle, and then from this position, he'll just move a couple feet and look this way through the window. As you're coming around here, I don't know why you continue for him to look at that. Like he should be the one to continue that out. Good angle exchange. Good work on this. This is pretty interesting. He should have just let you go first. And the reason why he should just allow you to work is because as he starts to get closer and closer to this corner, it starts to become a little bit weird. If a dude like pops out of this corner and he continues his road of travel, and then you need to take a shot, it becomes a little bit dicey. So he needs to be like behind you, because you own this angle right now. The angle that he sees is going to be something like that, right? But you can see the angle like that. So you own this angle. This angle belongs to you. So he just needs to give that angle up to you. It creates a dicey situation. See, to the point where you have to give it up to him. You arrive in a situation where you're coming down here, and the angle is getting so terrible that you give it up to him because you can't shoot past him at that point. And then you start to work it. Okay, awesome. At this point, just keep pushing. I think, do you guys do like... Yeah, you let him go past. Okay, well, at least somebody went past. But at that point, I would say just keep pushing it. So you wreck that dude. Right from there, I would move in like this direction and then hold this down. But that's only because you have 4 people, right? And I'm guessing that you're worried about rear security. So that's the reason why you have like 3 people to deal with this door. You need 2 to enter and 1 to hold security to the front. That's why you would go to the left. If you had enough people, let's say you had 2 people for the door and 2 people for this T intersection, because you have 2 dead spaces, then from this position, I would just move down the hallway to like maybe right here to hold this. And then hopefully somebody else like picks up on it and grabs this. And the reason why I say that you want to get like a little bit deeper is for the angle of the doorway over here. Once it opens, you want to make sure that you're not within the view of this door opening. One small thing that I will talk about real quick, and I've talked about this in my videos in the past, is that when you are holding security on a door, you want to be attacking the crack. So let's go ahead and play this, and I'll pause it at like a good point where I can illustrate this. Okay, so you move over to the handle side. If this door opens, because it is a push door, the door is going to move in that direction. So first light is going to be this way. And you can't really do much about that besides like moving into the position that you should have been at, right? Like you're going to have to move over here to get the angle into this doorway. So I would advise that when you're moving up to a door, always get in the position to see first light once the door opens. That's what attack the crack means. So you should end up right here looking this way. And then the dude that's over here will move over to this side and open the door for you, right? Because we want to get security on the door as fast as possible. It's not about operating the door as fast as possible. It's about getting security on it. That's how like bumping doors, as I was saying before, like the reason why I think that it's a good idea that like, okay, well, I'm just going to move over here and then look in that direction is because somebody is going to move to this door and attack the crack as soon as possible. So that if the door opens, we already have the upper hand on that doorway as soon as it opens. That's just a small little detail. And I've discussed that in my video about doorway procedures, but it's just something that I wanted to reiterate for this video. Okay, yeah, that kind of works. The main issue that I have with something like this, yeah, okay, so if there's a dude standing right here, it just turns into a gunfight. It's a coin flip as to who's gonna live and die in this situation, because you are pre-exposing yourself to that angle, and then the door opens and then they could just shoot you. Yeah, you can shoot them, but they could shoot you as well. So you want to be at a more shallow angle than that. So let's see, once you approach. If you were going to do this, I'd probably just do it from this corner, actually. From this corner right here. Because it's a really shallow angle into this. And you're not putting this dude on an island. He can run back, right? And you're cutting off the angle for somebody to run after him. So if you were going to do something like that, I would do it from back here. Mainly because of the angle. Because once that door opens, you don't want to be looking face to face with somebody. You want to be on an angle that's like really shallow and then pie in the direction of them. In order to like see them first. You're trying to see them first before they see you, so that you make the fight really unfair for them. I don't know, if you're going to do it this close, I would just let him do it. I would just get behind him and let him pie across. Because he can open the door and move back and then pie across, right? Like he can pull one of these numbers where he's standing here, he opens the door, he pulls back real quick, and then from a deeper angle, he can pie across. Or, alternatively, if you really want somebody else to take this angle, he can pull back, and he can, from this new position, he can look into like this angle, and then you can pie across from behind him to the other side, and then end up in like this type of situation. where you're both looking at both sides. But I don't think that what you got going on right now is the best, because you're not pieing into it. You're not cheating the angles. You're not playing that angle game in order to win the advantage. You're just pop the door, ready, set, go. Hopefully I'm faster. Okay, so we end up in a weird spot, right? Because this did work in a way, but it wasn't optimal. And the reason why it was not optimal is because of the place where you ended up. If we watch this again, right? When we watch it, and we stop right here, who is watching the back of the blue flannel guy? Nobody, right? You need to be ending up here so that you can watch this angle. Because if somebody is like standing here behind this barricade, he can find an angle to kill this guy and you can't do anything. So you would want to end up right here, and then somebody that's behind you needs to boogie to get over here. Ideally, you would have made this call earlier. So ideally, you would have made this call when you're like right here. Like, how many people do we need? And then we're moving up. From here, it looks, yeah, from back there, it looks like 2. But then once you get over here, you would want 2 more. Because ideally, you want 1 person here, a 2nd person here, a 3rd person here, and a 4th person here. And you have 4 people, so I'd be like, okay, everybody. I need everybody. As he moves to go here to watch either low or high, you need to follow him to end up here to watch this way. And then somebody else will come over to watch this way, and then the last person can choose high or low depending upon where this guy looks. Okay. It's not terrible. Like, this instance of doing it is not terrible, and the reason why. Now, somebody told you that the door closed, so doing it like this is not a terrible idea. However, just like squeezing him and then him going across and then you watching this way would be a good way of doing that as well. I just don't think that the angle exchanges are super great for that, but it is what it is. Yeah, here you should have called for 1 more. Because that's going to be an immediate clear, you might even need 2 more, actually. So we have an opening here, and we're going to need to send 2 people into that opening because it's so close, or at least somebody to plate it or something. So you need at least 1 more person, potentially 2, because if you send 2 people into this room, then you're going to need another person to push past it to hold this area, or at least stand here, right? Oh, let me do that in a better color. We'll choose red. At least stand here to hold this, and then wait for the sounds of gunshots. And if there's no gunshots, then he can push across and then hold this from like this angle. So at this point, you would stop. Okay, I need 2 more. All right, you got 2 more with you? Okay, cool. I would allow him in first, and then I would dive into that room with 1 more person. And then hopefully the fourth person can be switched on enough to be like, oh, okay, I need to hold that deep left. Here you can go high ready, and then that will send this person in that way. And then you can just go straight to known. And it becomes a lot easier that way. It becomes a lot more efficient, because the way that you did it, I think you went this way, and then he has to come around this way, and he has to like process that this is here. And then he needs to not hesitate and push into this room. So it's just a lot of things to like for this guy to take up, as opposed to, okay, we just send him this way and then I go that way. It becomes a lot easier because you know what's over here. But as you guys do it, it's like this, and then he does an immediate clear by himself into this room. I don't know what that room looks like, but if it has a corner on the right side and the left side, that's a death trap. This becomes irrelevant. Clearing this side becomes irrelevant. The reason for that is because he has a better angle into that corner. You like coming around here to clear what he already cleared, it doesn't make sense. There's an argument for maybe like clearing this area, but the area that like you're trying to slowly pie has already been cleared, or else the other dude would have been shot at. Okay, so now you have 5 people, I think. I'm not sure how well this person knows Angleman Corner Boy, but in an instance like this, you can treat it as a split threat. So you're coming here. Now what this guy can do, since I'm guessing that he can see the doorway over there. What he can do is do like a little, I don't know how you guys signify angle releases, but he can release this angle and not worry about the inside here, but instead focus on the doorway. And then this dude here can circle in to worry about that. And then it becomes a lot more efficient in the movements. Right, yeah, because he can see the doorway from there. I would release it from this angle and just watch this. And then this dude over here, can like loop in to look at whatever's inside of there. And then once he deals with that, or like once he pushes, then he could move in this direction, still watching this. And once Pink Dude is done with whatever is over here, he can move in this direction and get on this side. So then you have, you know, this whole thing going on. And then Yellow could wait maybe right here, watching at this angle, and then he'll move along this window to get in this position to watch that way. And then everybody else can stack up behind Yellow. Pink, sorry. Everybody will just file in this way and then end up over there. That depends on people knowing Angleman Corner Boy and knowing that you can release that and just hold it while the other person goes and deals with the room, and then you go ahead and deal with the rest. So the way you dealt with the door is much better. How you kind of like peeked into it, but the problem here is these 3 doors. You're gonna want 2 more people for this stretch of hallway. You have this door over here, you've got a door over here, and you've got this door. So you want 1 person to attack the crack on each door. So you need 3 for each door, and then you need 1 more person to decide, okay, which one are we going in first, right? You may pose the question of how the hell do we hold opposing doors? And this can create a problem, but you would have 2 people on this door working it like this. And then you have 1 dude that's looking this way on this door. But before you actuate this door, you'll tell him to move back to this wall and use this working wall. So he'll be situated, it'll end up with him being here holding this, or on this side, depending upon where you attack the crack on that door, as we explained earlier. And then you would just still have a dude here holding this. This pie is really good though, working that angle. And then you guys move in. Cool little offset. This is a little bit funky because you got two people over there, and then what are you gonna do from the middle of the hallway? Oh, no. No, I really don't like that. I really don't like that. On doors like this, I prefer using C2. Because there's no safe way to work that exactly. And you've got one dude with a hammer and one dude with his gun to the ground. And you're in high ready as you're looking at this door being disintegrated. And now it's like, okay, who's going first? Right? Like if we come back to the doorway where you're like, okay, so kill him, blah, blah, blah. You come back. Where was it exactly? Right here? Yeah, so if you put a charge on the door, then you can have one person standing in the doorway that you're at, one person standing in the doorway on the left, and then you have those crossing fields of fire into that room, and then you can push up slowly and then decide en route who's going to go first. But the way that this ends up is just a mess. And it's like, who's going first? Okay. This guy here is in a terrible spot. Now you can make the argument that he's in the dark. Okay, that's one thing that might make this a little less terrible. But the problem is once that door breaks, he is fully on the 90 degrees of the doorway, and in order for him to get to safety, he needs to run past your line of fire to get to this side of the door. And he needs to like work his way around the bed frame. I personally think it's a terrible approach, but maybe it'll work out. See, your angle is much better because you're on a narrow angle. And then you can take the approach to where you're standing here, you come up this way, and you're pieing this off. This is really good, but we need to get rid of this guy standing here in front of this. But yeah, I won't harp on it too much. Okay, you release it to him, and then they both go for it, I guess. I don't know why you guys do an angle exchange through a doorway. Like, you've done it a bunch of times, but I don't understand. For multiple reasons. First off, a doorway is not big enough for you guys both to go in at the same time, so why are we angle exchanging? Another reason is that when you guys both button hook, you're giving up what you're looking at in order to take up something new. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm just going to draw this here. So you have a doorway, right? And the doorway, you can only fit one person through the doorway. And you're standing here, and another guy's standing here, and you guys are looking in these directions. Now, this person knows about what's on this side. This person knows about what's on this side. So why aren't we moving towards what we know? Why am I going to drop what I know, which is this over here, and then move in this direction. And then this person over here is going to drop what he knows to pick up a whole brand new section of the room. When you guys are already looking at it, like just allow this, right? Like allow each person to move in the direction that they know about, as opposed to trying to angle exchange through a doorway. Angle exchanges make sense in areas where you can actually move through at the same time, because what you're trying to do on an angle exchange, let's say that it's like a much wider door, like this, not a door, but like a threshold, an opening, maybe like a T intersection or whatever. You are trying to move through at the same time. You're trying to move through that opening at the same time, so that what you're trying to achieve is that once you're like here, you're looking down these angles at the same time. But since a doorway is so freaking narrow, you cannot move and get that like same effect. You just can't, because you can't fit two people through a doorway like that. See, here it makes sense because you guys can both go your separate ways at the same time. There was no reason for you to give that up, I don't think, unless you were called back. Oh, he just starts running off in his own direction. So in this instance, once they flip, they should just stop right there. You just stop right there and use these angles as barricades. And then once somebody is with you and you get a squeeze, then you can start pushing. But you don't just want to disappear into that angle, because if you disappear in that angle and nobody's with you, then you run into situations like this, where it's like, okay, you have like a 3 or 4 second gap. Okay, yeah, we can say that like I cleared this area and then I just went in here and I cleared like this area. But who's to say that there's not an enemy that was hiding here, and then once you went that way, he came this way? Like, nothing's stopping that from happening. We want to hold this way and then work this way. Or we'll hold this way and then work that way. And then that stops that whole thing where somebody's here, and then as you're working in this direction, he just comes this way. Or as you're working in this direction, he comes this way. No, you shouldn't be standing there. You should be standing on the left side of this green flannel dude. You should be standing over here, watching this door. Or maybe a little bit like over here to watch this door and that door. But you standing here is like super redundant, because they can handle this. There's no need for you to be standing there holding their hands on it. I really don't like that. I really don't like that. That's not good at all. For, I think, reasons that are obvious, right? So if we look at this, right? The area where he's standing right now is probably the best. You just want to work this as a single stack. If you want to get like super safe about this door right here, You could have one dude here looking at this while he's working that, and then both of you will move into this room. And then a third dude could come up and hold it after you guys are inside. But as it plays out, if the door opens, who's gonna save him? How can anybody save him? Like, yeah, okay, maybe you could run up and try to put some shots on somebody that opens up that door, but if that door behind him opens, it's a bad day for everybody. Yeah. Did he work that door? I think I heard him like bang on the door. If he worked that door, then that is really bad. I really want to know if he worked on that door. Because the problem is, I'll go ahead and I'll draw it here real quick. So you have like the landing, and you have where that door was. And then you have all of your friendlies in this area, right? And then if he opens the door, you know, shots start coming through, it's just going to take out everybody. So you would probably, because the layout was something like this, and the walls were like that, what you could have is one dude here looking down, and then since there was like a washroom over here, you could have one guy in the doorway of the washroom break the door and then retreat into the washroom, and then this dude can go ahead and work in that direction, and then blue will come in with him. That would be the best way to do it. But I guess he just busted the door down, and hopefully it goes well. Yeah, he did, because the door's open. Okay, cool. When it comes to this area here, I'm not sure if there's like not supposed to be enemies in this direction. If there is, then either this guy or you has to come and plug this hole in order for everybody else to move this way. I would also suggest that you communicate between yourself and the people on the other side of this staircase here. Because if you push into here and they push in on their side, there's the potential that you guys are going to like shoot at each other. So organizing this movement a little bit better would be advised, as well as plugging this direction. And then you have this instance where this person comes out and you have another person that's looking this way. So if you had potentially an enemy standing right here, you guys are going to shoot at each other and it's going to be a bad day. So organizing this movement into this area, treating it essentially as an unanchored dead space, just a big unanchored dead space, that would help you out quite a bit. And then you could deconflict on this wall or on this wall. He could throw his laser on that, and then you circle it, and then okay, cool, he can come out. In this instance, I would suggest that you watch this angle, and then the person who's standing over here watches that angle. Once you guys do your barrel exchange, then you can swap so that you look at that and he goes and he looks at that. And then you can continue in whichever direction you choose. But that angle exchange is really important to make sure that this is locked down and also that this area here is locked down. But instead you come to here and you don't really commit to it. You're kind of chilling, I guess. My initial feeling is that you should check up your gun, put it into the high ready, so that allows this guy to cut in that way. And if he even wanted to, he could walk down this wall and then look in that direction while you're still kind of looking that way. And then when he decides to move, you can go into high ready, or you can just keep high ready and keep your eyes on what's over here. But instead you opt to go first. and you hook around this, and you find yourself in a weird position. Because if you guys did angle exchanges, the way that this would work is that he would come to like right here, and he would see that there's an opening that way, and then he could release you to come check this angle, and then you would see that there's an opening there and an L shape to the left. Then you could ask for one more person, and then you guys could move in that direction with like some kind of wingman, or you could probably just walk online. And then as you're walking online, let's continue a little bit further just so we can see the example. So here, you would probably like push forward a little bit, and then you'd be here, and then you'd look in that direction, and then they would probably like come up to where you are to look at that, and then you guys could do an angle exchange and then move in a direction like, okay, I move to here to look at that, and then he moves there to look at that. And then you would need like one more person, and then you could continue in that direction, because then you lock down what's over here, you lock down this opening, and you lock down this wall, this L shape. Because as it stands right now, you hook this corner, and you have 1, 2, 3 threats, and potentially more on the wall. So here you guys deconflict, and then you overtake the blue flannel guy. I think it's better if you allow them to continue moving. And the reason for this is because these two dudes already have situational awareness about what's in this direction. It's not the end of the world that you do take it over from them. It's just not as optimal. Yeah, this needs to actually be done right here, where this angle and this angle is still relatively close to each other. So he just needs to sit right there, and then once you approach, you guys do your angle exchange right here. Once he's looking down this way, then you guys can start to move in like this kind of direction, where you're holding this and he's holding that. But it's initiated at this line due to the angle that of his exposure to both of those. Because once he gets over here, now the angle becomes way more extreme. As opposed to from back here, it's more acute. Because see, as we watch and he continues forward, now he's in a really weird spot, and he's looking that way and you can't help him. You guys wave it, and then you move there. I would just chill right there. Once we get over here, I'm locked on that. This would be my priority. Although I would want to move back to the barricade of the corner in order to have cover so that I can fight this angle safely. And this person that's posted up here should go to behind me, but I would be posted on this until the last person passes and they tell me that they are the last man. Okay, yeah. Well, you do that, so that's good. If you see that you have friendlies in this area, you're no longer flipping it. You'll go high ready and allow him to push that direction. And then you can go here and join up with the team, because you're flipping him into friendlies. And say you're going completely quiet, you don't know where your teammates are, there's no map, no way to know where your friendlies are. If you flip him into your friendlies, there's a chance that this dude is gonna hit your friendlies. If you know that there's like no threat over here, or if you know that you have friendly forces over here, just check up and let him go straight.
Beat it.
Yeah, so I think the dude in the back is shooting the dude in the front. So they don't go opposing ways, they both go the same way. When you're running in here, somebody needs to check over behind the desk. Or behind the counter, I should say. Since the other guy is behind the pool table right here, this dude should push to check behind that counter. And then you can come over here to work the door for this guy. And that concludes the CQB breakdown. I hope you enjoyed this content and that Downey and his friends can find some helpful tips from this video. My next tutorial video on hallways is not quite ready yet, but I didn't want to go another week without uploading anything. If you would like to see more breakdowns that go this in depth, or if you would like me to help your team's tactics by reviewing your gameplay, let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for clicking on the video, and I hope you have a good one.